Mr. Trump, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Thank you.
Lovely and cold Ottumwa, Iowa.
It's cold, but beautiful.
There you go, there you go. This week's time, how Trump won. Past tense almost. If you got out of the race today, do you feel like you have won something?
No, I don't. I really don't. I think that the Time article was incredibly well written. It was really, I mean, that is a good writer, I will tell you that, a professional. But I feel that if I don't win all of it, and I mean the presidency, that I've wasted my time. I know I've been given accolades for the job we've done and everything else.
You've shifted the debate.
Well, especially being somewhat of a novice. And I've been, people have said very nice things like Time magazine, but I really feel that if I don't win, I can't make the difference. We're not going to bring back trade. We're not going to straighten out our military. We're not going to get rid of Obamacare and come up with a real health care plan. And we're not going to straighten.
But one could argue everybody's changed their messaging to try to copy you, whether it's Cruz, Rubio. I mean, everybody has taken a turn for tougher talk. So you've had an impact already.
Well,
that's why I'm wondering, do you feel like you have won so far?
Well, I even saw Ted Cruz the other day, just a few days ago, saying we will build a wall. I said, where did that come from all of a sudden? You know, I mean, these are things that are coming out. And if you look at what's happened with the Muslims, a lot of people are starting to say, hey, wait a minute, Trump is sort of right. We're going to have to start looking at this because there's a lot of bad things. You look at Philadelphia last night, you look at all of these things that are happening, and a lot of people are saying we have to study and we have to see what's going on. We cannot destroy this incredible country of ours. Can't do it.
You know there's this running conventional wisdom about you with some in the establishment that now say, okay, he's here to say, but if he doesn't win Iowa, he'll leave. He'll leave the race.
I'm not leaving. No, I'm not leaving. You and I had this discussion about 2 months ago where you said, would you leave? I was in #1. I've been in #1 just about since I joined up, right? June 16th. Amazing. We've had a lot of fun. But you asked me that question. I started talking about, well, maybe here, maybe there, if this happened.
There's no maybes anymore.
There's no maybes. There's no maybes. I'm not leaving.
You're going straight to the convention.
Going all the way. If I don't win, I don't win. But, you know, maybe that can happen. But I'm leading every poll
and you'll
big.
accept the idea that you might lose Iowa. You could lose it.
I hope I win Iowa. I've developed an amazing relationship with the people of Iowa. You see it right outside. We have a huge audience, a sold-out audience, always sold out. I mean, no matter where I go. But I have an amazing relationship with the evangelicals, with the Tea Party, with the people of Iowa. And I hope I win Iowa. If I don't win, I mean, you know, that can also happen. And I go right to New Hampshire where we're doing great. I go right to South Carolina where we're doing great. We go into Nevada where we're leading big. And we go to the SEC where we're leading big. But I would love to win Iowa. I've spent a lot of time here. Right after this, I'm making another speech in a different part of Iowa.
With the Big Bopper.
And that's right. The Big Bopper is right. So we're spending a lot of time in Iowa. I love the people, and I think we're going to do well in Iowa.
Obviously, your chief competitor is Ted Cruz. You have brought up the Canadian citizenship issue, but let me ask you your opinion. Do you believe he is constitutionally eligible? I know the Supreme Court has never weighed in on the phrase natural-born citizen. What does that mean? But you yourself, do you think he should be eligible?
So what happens is I was watching Lawrence Tribe of Harvard yesterday, who's a constitutional expert, one of the true experts. And according to him, it's a real question mark. And he is the, you know, I would say is one of the great authorities on this subject. He has a question mark. And
but do
what
you
I say,
have a question
let me
about
tell you, from Ted's standpoint and from the party standpoint, he has to solve this problem. Because the Democrats will sue him if he's the nominee. If Ted is the nominee, he will be sued by the Democrats. And according to one of the great lawyers of the country at Harvard, with strong opinions on this, the whole thing has not been, this matter, as he said, this matter has not been determined.
I understand that,
no,
but I'm talking about your opinion.
I would say that I would want the Supreme Court to rule because they haven't ruled. And when you listen to Lawrence Tribe of Harvard say that it's a real question and a real problem. Look, if Ted wins, he's been very nice to me, I've been very nice to him. But if Ted wins, he becomes the nominee. He goes out. Day one, he's going to be sued by the other party.
By the way, do you think it's between you and him at this point? Do you buy the idea? Because right now,
no,
in almost every poll now, it is 1-2, you and him.
No, I don't personally think so. I think other people could maybe sneak up. I'm surprised at how badly some are doing. I think that some are doing really badly that I thought would have done better. And I think Ted's doing maybe better than I would have thought. But right now, we're 1 and 2, although Ted's not anywhere close to #2 in New Hampshire. If you look at that poll, he's not even close to #2 in New Hampshire. But we'll have to see. Ted and I are definitely #1 and 2 in Iowa. So that's where we are, and we're going to see how that. And I happen to think that, from my standpoint, now politically, I should say, oh, if I come in number 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 in Iowa, I'd be very happy. I wouldn't be.
You're going to be unhappy if you lose Iowa.
I would like to win Iowa.
Right.
Okay.
And you're not going to.
And
be
I
happy.
say that with great, with trepidation, because this way, if I come in number 2 and really do a good job,
we're all going to
everyone's
say, "Hey,
gonna
look at you."
That's okay.
Yeah.
I would like to win Iowa, but I think Ted and I are close here. But if you look at Ted in New Hampshire, he's not doing well at all.
Let me ask you about. You said something about Senator Cruz this week in a CNN interview. You said he was for amnesty. That's a big charge. What's the of all people to charge being for amnesty? Where's the evidence on him?
Well, number one, he worked for Bush. Bush was heavy for amnesty.
Okay, but he worked for him.
No, I know, but he worked for him, and he was heavy for amnesty. And if you look at Rubio go after him, Rubio and Bush are both, claiming each other was totally for amnesty. And honestly, Marco has a lot of good points as to Ted's feeling on amnesty. Now, Ted just switched his views on ethanol. He was totally against ethanol. Now, all of a sudden, he's for it. It's Iowa, and he's for it. Whereas
where are you in ethanol?
I've been in favor of ethanol, and the people
Subsidies.
like
You're
me
okay
a
with
lot.
the subsidies?
I'm okay with it. I mean, I like fuel. And
right.
ethanol is fuel. And the people out here, it's a very important subject. But Ted switched, and I think they feel very queasy about that. Look, Ted will switch opinions, and I think that's fine. And in the world, you have to have a certain
You've
flexibility.
changed a lot. You've changed a lot.
I've changed opinions over the years. I mean, we change. But it'll be very interesting to see what happens. I'll tell you one thing. I am really looking to February 1st. It's going to be very exciting.
Let me ask you, Senator Rubio sponsored a bill back in Florida, back when he was in the State House, to give in-state tuition for undocumented immigrants. There's a lot of states that allow in-state tuition for the children of undocumented immigrants. I've not heard your position on that.
I'm opposed to it.
Totally opposed.
They're here. They're not here legally. I'm opposed
Even kids
to it.
born to illegal immigrants. in the
Well,
United
I
States.
happen to disagree with the whole concept of anchor babies. I mean, you look at anchor babies.
But that's in the Constitution.
No, it's not in the Constitution. If you read and if you look and if you go to the real scholars, like different people that I can give you, they will tell you somebody comes over and they have a baby on our border and it happens to be on this side of the border. We're not mandated to take care of that baby. You do not have to change the Constitution. You may need a vote in Congress, but you don't have to change. Now, there's a debate about that.
Right.
I don't think it's even close, and I've been on this issue for a long time. No. People have to come into our country legally, Chuck. They have to be here legally.
You've had 2 wives that were immigrants.
That's right.
Right.
And by the way, they both went through a long process.
Under your systems, would they still be able to get in this country?
Sure they would.
Okay.
Sure. I want people to come into the country legally. I want great people to come into the country legally. And the ones that are here right now, and we have some really bad dudes right here. The gangs in Los Angeles, you take a look at some of those gangs. A lot of those gangs are illegal immigrants. They're not supposed to be here. And they are rough cookies. And the police in our country, they have been just absolutely undermined. They know all those people. They're going to get them out fast. And we're going to get the bad ones out. You look at Chicago, you look at different places where we have the gangs, they're going to get them out fast.
I guess, how do you decide if someone's a Muslim when you're doing this test?
There's got to be some kind
how
of
do you
a method.
do this
It's not
method?
just
Because you're taking somebody's word.
I'm not taking somebody's
That's my
word.
point. And if somebody really wants to do damage, they're going to lie and cheat and,
Hey, look,
sneak into this country.
This has become a very big factor over the last week and a half, 2 weeks since I made my announcement that we have to see what the hell is going on. In the meantime, the other night you have a cop shot in Philadelphia with a gun put to his head, and the chants and the rantings and the ravings. You look at the 2 Iraqis that came in Houston and Los Angeles, you see what's happening there. You're looking at a lot of bad things that are happening right now. Now you're looking at Cologne, Germany. You take a look at Cologne, Germany.
No,
where
I
they're
understand
having
that, but
riots.
how do you
Well, wait a
do
minute,
it?
Chuck.
How do you do it, though? I get it. Or do you just say, you know what, you do it geographically. You don't even do a religious test. You do it.
People come in, if they're business people, if they're proven, but we have to find out what the problem is. There is a hell of a problem here. People can say whatever they want. There's a problem. Take a look at Brussels. I've been to Brussels. I was there 25 years ago, one of the most incredible places. Take a look at Paris. Here's a story. So a photographer from Paris, one of the great in the world, is taking pictures of my wife for a magazine. This was just a couple of days ago. One of the greatest photographers in the world lives in Paris. And she said, "Oh, Mr. Trump, it's so sad what happened. It's so dangerous. It's so sad. It's so sad." Telling me the stories. Then other people from Paris that know her are telling me the same stories. Chuck, there's a problem. We've got to get to the bottom of the problem. We've got to find out what's going on. Now, we can be politically correct and never discuss it,
Right.
but we can't let that happen to our country.
Let me get some news of the week. China, clearly its economy, they're having a problem. They're having a crisis there. You have railed that China is beating America, and yet
They're
we're
killing us.
Okay, we're on our best 2-year job creation streak in 20 years. China is cratering our stock market for the problems they have at home. How is that the definition of China winning and America losing?
First of all, take a look at our GDP. Take a look at our GDP. And if you look at that, if you look at our productivity, if you look at the fact that people in 10 years essentially haven't had a raise, are people going down instead of up, the jobs, a lot of temporary jobs, people are working temporary jobs and jobs that they don't want instead of jobs. Our economy is doing horribly. And you take a look at that jobs report, the jobs report is fiction because all of the people that gave up.
Total fiction? You don't think there's been improvements from the crash, obviously?
Honestly, I would say it's 90%. We all have improvements from crashes. I mean, we had a crash. We had somewhat of a crash.
Yeah.
Would it have straightened itself out? Would have straightened itself out. We had somewhat of a crash. But listen, Chuck, you have 60, 70, 80 million people out there that want to work that aren't getting jobs. When people give up on looking for a job, they're essentially statistically considered to be employed.
So despite China's economic crisis that they're facing
wait
right
a
now,
minute.
what do you make of what's
Before
going
you-
on?
I had
Well, what do
two
you
of-
make of what's going on over
I
there?
had two of the richest people in the world in my office yesterday from China.
Yeah, and what do they tell you?
You know what they were here for? To pick up brand new jets. They bought jets.
Okay, but what do they tell you what's going on over
They
there?
tell me China's absolutely fine. It's having a digestion problem. I said, what's the digestion? He said, buying so much and doing so much business with the United States and other places. That's what it is. They are having a digestion. Now listen to this. China's going up 6.5%. If we went up 6.5%, we'd have the strongest country. It would be the strongest we've ever had. We're not going to hit 2% probably. China's going up 6.5%, and because of that, people are worried that they're not doing well. We don't get 2%. So China's going to be just fine. They manipulate their currency. They will manipulate it again. They will lower their currency. They will get more business coming in. They will be fine, and we will be hurt.
In 1999, on this very program, you were asked about North Korea, and at the time, you were open to a preemptive strike on their potential, on the facilities that they were working on nukes. Where are you today considering what just happened in North Korea?
So I would like to see China take care of North Korea because China has very strong control over them. Don't let them tell you they don't. And you know, they go around saying, well, we don't really have that much.
This is an
to do.
American problem. You think this should be a Chinese
well,
problem?
I want it to be an American problem because ultimately nukes are everybody's problem, all right? And frankly, it's a Japanese problem and it's a South Korea problem. And one of the things we have to do is we have to have South Korea and Germany and Japan and all of these countries that we essentially protect. We protect them. They have to start paying. They have to start paying.
I know. You've said this before. How does that work?
You go to them and
You're basically going to say,
first of all,
we'll put
behemoths.
these. You want
First
to
of all,
be on the nuclear umbrella. It costs you money.
listen, they are.
Is that right? If you want to be in America's
They
nuclear
are
umbrella,
economic behemoths. Germany, Mercedes-Benz, all this stuff. They make tremendous amounts of money. Of course, she's destroying Germany with what she's done with the migration. What she has done is unbelievable. What she has done to Germany is unbelievable.
you're referring to Angela Merkel.
Exactly, is unbelievable. But Germany, Japan, South Korea, we have 28,000 soldiers on the line in South Korea between the madman and them. We get practically nothing compared to the cost of this. Why are we doing this? When I buy televisions, when I buy a lot of different products, I have to buy them in South Korea because they don't make them here anymore. I mean, they virtually don't make television sets in the United States anymore. They make a fortune. They're a very wealthy country. We're a very poor country.
So you're basically, with these countries, you're going to basically say, if you want our military protection, you're going to have to do better with trade deals.
They're going to have to do better. Not trade deals. They're going to have to take care of our military. They give us very little. We are paying to take care of all these countries. You know, when you hear that we spend more money by many times than other countries, part of the money we spend is we're protecting everybody and we're not getting very much for it. Take a look at Saudi Arabia. They were making before the oil went down, so maybe they make half.
Well,
they were
they're
making
struggling.
$1 billion. Well, think of it. They were making $1 billion a day. And they pay us peanuts to protect them. And without us, Saudi Arabia wouldn't be there. So we have to get smart. We owe $19 trillion, Chuck. $19 trillion. It's going to be now $21 trillion very soon because of the stupid budget deal was just made, which is shocking that the Republicans agreed to that deal. Shocking. But we're going to be at $21 trillion in debt. We have to get smart, and when we protect Germany and South Korea and Japan, they've got to pay up. And you know what? They'll do it. They'll do it. But you have to have the right message or ask.
You just brought up the spending deal. You have said you think President Obama is a terrible negotiator.
Except when it comes to dealing with the Republicans.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. He seems to.
I'm glad you were going to say that.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Like who?
No. I said the other day.
If he's such a bad negotiator, then why do the Republicans lose?
Obama is one of the worst negotiators I've ever seen on everything except when it comes to dealing with the Republicans. It's unbelievable. The Republicans fold every single time. They don't get this last budget was terrible. But you look at the Iran deal. You look at these deals. I always bring up Bergdahl. We get a traitor. They get 5 people that they've wanted for 9 years, and they're back on the battlefield trying to kill everybody, including us. And we get a dirty, rotten traitor. So let me just tell you, that's the kind of deals we make. The Iran deal, we give them $150 billion. We get nothing out of it. We don't even get our prisoners back.
They just ship the uranium out, though. I mean, they're living up to the deal.
And where do they ship it? To Russia.
Well, you trust Putin.
Well, I trust him more than some people.
I was just going to say,
I can tell you that. But what kind of a deal is that? Even that, they're shipping it to Russia, right?
Uh-huh.
Why are they shipping it to us? Why aren't we getting it? They're shipping it to Russia. I don't like that.
You don't like that at all?
No,
okay.
No. I'd like them to ship it to us. It's our deal. So they get $150 billion. We don't even get our prisoners back. They have 24-day periods to, and by the way, the people don't know, the 24 days doesn't start until a whole procedure takes place. That 24-day can be a long.
Hard to wipe away nuclear material. Hard to wipe away nuclear material in 24 days.
I don't know that, and you don't know that.
The scientists tell us.
How about their rights of self-inspection? Yeah. Do you think that the Iranians are going to give us good self-inspection? I don't.
All right, let me get you
on. But with the Republicans, Obama's a great negotiator. He won't be a great negotiator with me if he was there, but he won't be there.
Let me get you on what you've been saying. You've said you're willing to bring up Bill Clinton's past with women if Hillary Clinton attacks you for being a sexist. So is that a threat to her? Is that essentially what you're saying is, hey, you want me to go down that road? You go down that road, I go down this road. Is this sort of public threat?
I don't want to say it's a threat.
What is it?
It's a threat. Okay.
But it is a threat.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I can call it a nicer name. Yeah. She was saying he has tendencies toward being sexist.
Talking about who? You?
Talking about me. And I said, wait a minute. She's married to an abuser, a woman claimed rape, and all sorts of things. I mean, horrible things. You read the books.
You do know, though, if you bring it up, people are going to bring up yours.
It's okay.
I mean, your first divorce was ugly.
Number one, it's fine.
All over the tabloids.
You know what? I wasn't the president of the United States, and I wasn't dealing in the Oval Office, all right? A big difference. I wasn't the president. And my first wife thinks I'm great, and my second wife, and I have a great marriage. I mean, I have a great marriage. So, I mean, it's fine. I'm not saying don't bring anything up with me, but when she says that, I had to bring it up. And by the way, they've become very unresponsive since then.
No, they have.
And I just won the Fox poll against her even. I'm up substantially over Hillary in the Fox poll that just came out.
As you know, people call you a lot of names. Some of it's positive, some of it's negative. I want to throw some by you. Let's see. Some people are calling you the music man of this race. Kim Kardashian, Biff from Back to the Future, George Costanza, P.T. Barnum. What's any of those? Do you consider a compliment? Or do you
P.T. Barnum.
You'll take the P.T. Barnum?
P.T. Barnum. Look, people call you names. We need P.T. Barnum a little bit because we have to build up the image of our country. We have to be a cheerleader for our country. We don't have a cheerleader. I thought Obama, when he got elected, would be a good cheerleader. That's the one thing I said. I said he'll be he'll unify the country, whether it's African American and white, and he'll unify. He's not unifying. He's been a great divider. On top of that, very bad.
You think he's been the divider? What about the Republican Party?
I think
you don't think they've?
No, I think he's.
You don't think this has been a two-way street here?
Chuck, he hasn't brought us together. He hasn't brought.
And that's on him, not on both parties?
I think it's on everybody, but he's the leader. He's the leader. He could have been a great cheerleader, and he hasn't been, and that's too bad.
What do you tell conservatives about 90s Trump? You liked the Clintons. You were pro-choice. You were even for some gun control. You wondered why the NRA would be for some limitations, some restrictions. 2016 Trump, you're not that guy.
Well, I have changed. I've changed in many ways.
Is it just, what is it? What's the change?
Take a look at Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was a somewhat liberal Democrat. Ronald Reagan was a liberal Democrat. And he became a fairly conservative, not overly, but a fairly conservative Republican. And as he grew older, and I've seen things and I've watched things, I mean, like with guns. If in Paris or if in California recently with the 14 people that were killed and probably others to follow in terms of that group, because you have some people that are very, very badly wounded. And in Paris, you have some people that are, but Paris is like, you can't have guns. In France, you can't have guns. If in Paris they had guns, if in California, on the other side, where the bullets go both ways, not just in one direction, right? You wouldn't have had the kind of carnage that you've had.
What should be the restrictions, though, on purchasing guns?
Well, first of all,
where are you on this?
Okay.
Background check
First of
for
all,
everybody?
First of all, there's a lot of language right now that the federal government has not taken advantage of. I mean, you know that. There's tremendous language right now, stuff that's already been passed, and it was passed the old-fashioned way where people actually agreed to it. One of the problems I have with what Obama did is he's always signing executive orders.
Right.
He doesn't bring people into his office.
Are you going to
and
sign
control.
Are you going to refuse to do executive orders as president?
I won't refuse it. I won't refuse
You'll
it.
do them
I'm
too,
going to
right?
do a lot of right things. Well, I mean, he's led the way, to be honest with you. What he's done on immigration when he signed those papers. Now, fortunately, the courts all of a sudden have done a little bit of a termination. We'll see what happens. But one of the beautiful things about executive orders from my standpoint is if I get elected, many of those executive orders that he signed the first day, they're going to be unsigned.
No, I understand that, but you're willing to use them too yourself.
Oh, I will. I'm not going to rule
All right,
it out.
final question, because I know you've got the route
But I'm
to
going
get
to use
to.
them much better, and
So
they're going to serve a much better purpose than what he's done.
On Tuesday, we're going to hear the president say the state of our union is, in some words, strong, we're vibrant, all this stuff. What would you say, 1 year from now, it could be you giving this speech to Congress, a version of it, we don't call it the State of the Union in the first one, but a joint session speech. How would you describe the State of the Union right now?
Or in a couple of years
Now
from now?
or in a year?
I think now it's a mess. Our military
You
is
go up there and
messed
say,
up.
the state of our union is a mess.
No, I wouldn't say that. You're asking me for an opinion. No,
Yeah.
Obama will say what he's going to say. But I think right now the state of our union is a mess. We can't beat ISIS. Our military is falling back. It's not being properly taken care of. Our vets aren't being properly taken care of. Obamacare, as you know, is going to fail very soon, and probably in 17. Our health care, we don't have borders. We don't have anything. I think if I'm there in 2 years and I'm making a speech, I say we're getting better fast.
And in that first speech to Congress, you're going to lay out your first 100 days agenda. What are those 4 issues that are
I
going to
want
be
to
on
build
there?
our military bigger and better and stronger than
that'll
ever
be in
before.
that's number 1.
I want to take care of our veterans. I want to take care of them. They're being taken care of horribly. I want to fix our health care system. I want to create borders so that we have a country, because right now we don't have a country. We have borders where people just walk across and do whatever they want to do, and then they have babies, and the babies become citizens, and we have to take care of them.
Right.
We're going to do many, many things, and we're going to make America great again. That's what I want to do.
Oh, I forgot. There was one more question I was going to ask you. Billionaires. There's a bunch of billionaires around the world. Zuckerberg has signed on this idea. They want to basically give away more than half of their wealth in some point to philanthropic projects. Carl Icahn is a guy who has signed on to this. Good friend
Who,
of
by the
yours.
way, endorsed
Right,
me.
that's what I mean. Good friend of yours.
And
Have
he's
you
a
thought
great
about? I'm sure people have asked you to sign this
They've all asked me.
giving pledge.
They have all asked me.
Why haven't you done
Well,
it?
so far I'm a little bit old-fashioned. I have wonderful children who are doing a wonderful job, and I believe in that, and we employ thousands and thousands of people. And I like the concept of keeping the company going as opposed to selling everything and giving it away. So right now, I mean, perhaps I shouldn't be saying this, but I'm of the old school. I'd like to see my children take this great company that I've built, and it is a great company, and I'd like to see it go on for a long time. Creating jobs, lots of money, pay lots of taxes, give lots of money away. I'd make lots of big contributions. I like that better.
All right. Mr. Trump, until we meet again.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Great honor. Thank you, Chuck.